Hey everybody, it's Chris Stafford here with the Max Show. That's Massive Abundance Exposed, where we're exposing the secrets of badass entrepreneurs all over the world. And we have that person coming up on the show. I cannot wait to interview Mr. Patrick Ginn. Patrick is just a phenomenal realtor in Southwest Washington State. Last year did over $88 million in sales. I think he closed 240 transactions. I have all kinds of really cool questions because he hasn't been in the business that long. So I'm dying to find out what's his magic secret. So we're going to have some fun with Patrick. But before you do, make sure you go to massiveabundanceinc.com. Check out some free goodies there. And without further ado, Mr. Patrick Ginn. Hey everybody, you're not going to believe it because we have Patrick Ginn in the house. How you doing, Patrick?
Doing very well, Chris. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's my pleasure. I'm really glad that you took the time because, we have the show notes. We have a lot of people that are trying to figure out, all of our viewers are going to be figuring out how you are the superstar realtor in the Southwest Washington area. And I really want to get into, I have all kinds of questions for you, but I thought we'd start off by you just giving us a little background on yourself and how you got into real estate and where you work and all that good stuff.
Sure. So probably like most people in their professions, they kind of just, it wasn't a purposeful entry to real estate. I was working in the exciting world of accounting, and that was about 10 years ago, and seemed logical. Numbers work, debits and credits and that type of thing. And a couple clients were realtors, and the market was a lot more active at that time, or, the good old days where there was a lot of realtors and a lot of money being made, and it seemed a lot more fun than telling how much money people owed on their tax returns. So got involved with Remax Equity Group at the time, and actually started out as a transaction coordinator, which I had to be licensed for, but really all I did was manage all of the behind-the-scenes paperwork. I didn't do any sales for the first couple of years in the business. I worked very closely with all the escrow officers, the agents in the branch, title companies to get transactions closed. And honestly, that was a great foundation because I was able to really understand the basic, how deals come together, a lot of the issues with time frames and contingencies, see what worked and didn't work. And then from there, I went on to Keller Williams had come into the area, and I went on to run one of their top sales teams. From there, they approached me from Remax to do that. Did that for a couple of years, and that was another great way to learn a lot of the tools and the sales side of things. And then I kind of decided to branch out and do my own thing as Ginn Realty Group, which is now we're with Hassan Company Realtors, is where we're affiliated, our license, and that's out of the Portland, Oregon market. It's the largest local independently owned brokerage. So they're primarily in Portland areas, and then we have the Vancouver branch here. And over the last 5 years, we've grown our group. We do residential, a lot of new construction, and we've been focusing a lot on the luxury market as well.
Well, let's talk about that, Patrick, because you are relatively, and I've been in the real estate business for, my God, over 22 years, and we share one thing in common too. I used to work at PricewaterhouseCoopers as a CPA. Then before I just said, I need to get the hell out of here and do something I'm really passionate about, which got me involved in, became a real estate broker in San Francisco. But, you're relatively new in the business. I don't recall. I think you started in 2005, 2006, was it?
Yeah.
I'm looking at this right now, and I'm seeing that you did last year over 88 million in closed sales, over 240. Oh, we got a light issue. No problem.
No problem.
Over 240 closed transactions. Wall Street Journal names you the top realtor. Real Trends names you the top realtor. You've got awards up the yin-yang, and you did this in a relatively short period of time. What's your secret?
I think there's a couple things. I think a lot of it was just being open to the opportunities in the market, and just kind of part of it was a benefit because I was so new, as I didn't really know what the market used to be or how it had been. So I was a little bit lucky in the sense I didn't have a preconceived notion of what was a good market or a bad market. It was like, okay, like this is what we need to do. We're out of inventory. We need to team up and create inventory, or we need to get investors and build this neighborhood out. So it really being open to just identifying what the market was and not having a preconceived notion of what it should be or had been.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying, here's where we're at, here's where we're missing product, here's where the opportunities are, and kind of adjusting, my business accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, hard work and follow-up, those are all important things, but I think just really looking at the data, understanding the market, and then being able to position myself within those different opportunities.
Well, I think this is a really good lesson for a lot of the listeners here because the majority of the people watching are going to be real estate agents and brokers. And I think reading on you, Patrick, and to sort of emphasize what you just said, you pretty much found out where there was a shortage in the market and you sort of created your own market with builders. Isn't that correct?
Correct. That is correct.
Yep. So you essentially said there weren't enough luxury homes in your area.
Right.
Let's contact a builder and build one on spec, which a lot of people I understand thought you were crazy to do.
Correct. Yeah.
That was great. I mean, where'd you come up with that idea?
Well, a lot of it was just I was showing buyers, and again, this was 5-6 years. So this was a major buyer's market, and there's a lot of inventory. Whereas today there's a lot less.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I noticed just driving around with buyers is like they're looking for this nice. And a lot, these are primarily master on the main home, so we're targeting the boomers and, that demographic.
Mm-hmm.
But they couldn't find, there was these big houses in foreclosure, these 6,000 square foot houses, these places with a lot of steps,
Mm-hmm.
but not really efficient floor plans with all the nice finishes. They like the granite, they like the heated floors,
Mm-hmm.
they want, pretty good energy efficiency, they want, steps. It didn't exist. So then it was, okay, well, clearly there's a demand for it, even though there's all this supply. Took a few builders, and they said, no, why would we build right now? There's, 12 months to 18 months of supply, 24 months of supply.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way we're going to build a high-end spec when the average sales price is $200,000. You want us to build a $500,000 house.
Right.
And again, that's our market. Our median home price is a lot lower than California.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it just was being out there with the clients and kind of just saying, hey, this is a real shortage, and kind of based on that, I believe I can, if this product is available, I can build it. And so obviously it takes puts a little pressure on me saying, hey, I can sell this if you build it, let's do it.
Exactly.
But, there was a real demand, and it's continued.
I think this is it's a great lesson for all of us real estate brokers because, in various markets, I go around, Patrick, and I speak to a lot of different realtors all over the country. And there's always some issue that they have. There's either too much inventory, not enough inventory, they don't have this or that. And they always ask me, what can I do from a marketing standpoint? And,
Right.
This is a great lesson for us is, if there is something that we're missing in our marketplace, find out a way to take care of it. That's an amazing lesson.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I might also mention too that for our listeners that Patrick, you do sort of specialize in the higher end market. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And that doesn't mean that's the only spot. There's holes now developing in all different markets. I'm seeing it 55 and over. I'm seeing attached now condo inventory in certain areas which were
Mm-hmm.
nobody wanted to touch condo projects. That's coming back. So as the market continues to evolve, whether it's high end, low end, condos, land, there are going to be needs for that. And surprisingly, I've just had some meetings this week, meeting with very prominent developers or investors, and they're saying, yeah, just tell me what to do. Like, it was amazing. It's like these guys are some of the best, and they have amazing resources, but they're really just looking for direction.
Right.
And we're ready to go, but we don't know where the market is. You're the one on the ground. You tell me,
Mm-hmm.
and we're ready to ready to do it. So it's kind of interesting because I think, I always did, and I'm sure a lot of people do. They just take for granted that a lot of these businesses or developers already have their business plan in place, and there's no room for you as a broker or an opportunity. But they're always looking, and I think if you can provide that value of, this is what we need, and this is what I can sell, and here's the business model, I think there's a lot of opportunity to provide service and obviously get a huge amount of listings from those clients if you do a good job.
Right. That's great. I love it. Great tips. Listen, talking more about marketing. What kinds of marketing do you do? Do you have to? At this level, you are a superstar. What kind of marketing do you do, if any? Or is it all referral, word of mouth?
Well, we have what we've done is we've created a brand that we like to market, the Ginn Realty Group brand, and within that we market our homes. So for us, it's really about getting exposure for our clients and providing that service. We do get a lot of referrals, which help, and our name, we have some established track record, which helps. But we still do a lot of print advertising, believe it or not. I know a lot of people are shifting to internet. We've had a lot of good experiences from doing some local prints, the local home books, real estate books. How we market in there is a little different. We try to drive web traffic as opposed to put so much information about the house in that print ad. We guide them to the website or guide them to open houses. So if we're doing new construction, we'll just say, hey, here's an ad, come to the open house, rather than just kind of a static ad. So how we market that print has changed over time. We've had a lot of social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Those are all things that we've been working pretty hard at and gaining followers. And it's been really good for past clients as well, because especially with like Facebook, I have so many past clients on there. I can see the kids grow up and they're in Disneyland, and it's almost like you're still in touch, because even though you haven't seen them for 6 months, they're like, oh, I know, they play football, he graduated. When you talk to them in 2 years, you kind of know. So it's a pretty neat what technology can do for you there. So I think we do spend quite a bit of time staying in touch with our past clients, because that's really important. My view is always, if you do a really good job for people, obviously that's pretty easy if you just stay in touch, because they're going to have friends or family members that are going to need to buy or sell real estate. And so staying in touch, we do some really nice client events that aren't high cost, but just try to stay in touch with them, and spend time sending out monthly newsletters and do that type of thing. And then, also just print marketing and that type of thing.
I like that. It's interesting, because I think you're the embodiment of something that, I don't know if you know who Barbara Corcoran is. She's on the Shark Tank.
I've heard the name.
Yeah, and she was an amazing realtor in New York City, and she's pretty nationally known. But one of the things that she said, it's always sort of figure out what your competition is doing in real estate and do the exact opposite. And you're the embodiment of that. I love that. But let's talk about that, because behind every successful person, there are some bumps in the road. There are some challenges that we all experience as entrepreneurs. What has maybe been your biggest challenge that you've had so far starting your business, and how did you overcome it?
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I think, like you said, we've all probably encountered them. And kind of just thinking on that, obviously there's day-to-day challenges, there's transactional challenges. When you really look at where we're at today and where I was, for me, it was really that shift of, okay, this is how much I can do and handle in a day. And I'm burning the candle at both ends. I want to do more, but I just can't. I can't provide the level of service to my existing clients and add all these existing clients and still do a great job. So I wrestled with that for a long time, because obviously nobody can do it as good as me. I'm a one-man show. I have to do everything. I have to plant the fires, I have to create them, I have to make the calls.
Right.
So that was hard. It was really hard, because I didn't want to let go. I didn't want to, I didn't know how to a certain extent. I didn't have the ability to kind of delegate and trust, other people to kind of handle it. So that was my biggest single obstacle, was probably making that transition. And then looking back, that was the inflection point of when my business really took off, was when I finally made that decision to bring on at that time, it's just a general assistant. She's still with me as an operations manager now 5 years later. And
that's great. How many people do you have on your team?
We have about six total on our Clark County operations. And then we've got a couple other. We work with a lot of agents closely, so they're not necessarily in our group, but we have 6 employees. We have a listing coordinator, an operations manager, a transaction coordinator, a social media, marketing, creative kind of guy that creates neat, pretty stuff, and then a marketing manager and luxury home manager. So that works, just to see how that has evolved. And it's only been, 3-4 years, and now my role has changed from me being the person that goes to every meeting, or I'm the get the call, to spending time with each of them so they can do really well at their specialty, so I can focus more on what I do. And so that has been really key. Is just, and part of it goes back to Gary Keller's book, The One Thing, or, the old 80-20 rule, like, you're 20% or you're one thing, and really sitting down and saying, what am I good at? And I'm not very good at that much. I'm good at 2 or 3 things, and I'm okay with that. And doing those really, really well, and then putting the right people in place to do all the other stuff that they're great at, that help me focus on my 20% or my one thing.
That's I love that so much because, as entrepreneurs, it's really difficult for us to hire that first person, like you said, and we all sort of have to go through that. But that's one of the things I talk to realtors about all over when I'm, talking, giving presentations, whatever. I'm always saying leverage out, figure out what you're good at, find the 1, 2, 3, 4 things that you're good at, and then get other people to do do the other things because, it's surprising. It's not that hard to find people that are really brighter than ourselves.
Yeah. There's a lot of them. I mean, in my case anyway. So
hey, listen,
it's
I
terrific.
know.
I mean,
I know. That's great.
Makes me happier than saying, that's a great, oh yeah, I totally had that idea, but you're like, oh, that's really smart. I'm glad I have you. So, yeah.
I love
and
it.
even if you don't hire employees, there's a lot of companies that you can outsource to, whether it's newsletters or marketing or virtual type things.
Virtual assistants, yeah.
Yeah, there's all different options depending on where you're at budget-wise and income-wise. But I think the biggest thing is just asking yourself the question, should I be out meeting somebody or in an open house, or should I be licking envelopes?
Exactly. I love it. Well, tell us what's the next big thing for Patrick Ginn? What's on your horizon?
We've got a lot of exciting stuff. We've been expanding our luxury market share here in Clark County, which is good and exciting. We are expanding our operation this year into the Oregon market, which was named one of the top cities, and by the moving traffic, it ranked #1. So it's one of the hottest cities for inbound moves. So a lot of exciting stuff going there. It's a natural fit because a lot of our clients do move, the 20 minutes across the river or vice versa. So that will be, we think, a natural fit without kind of diluting our level of service, because you always want to be careful when you grow is still keep that consistency, that brand, what people know you for. So that's exciting. And then, on a personal level, going back, and there's some different groups that I've joined, some both from the commercial institute. There's some additional learning experiences for bigger deals, some land development groups, Urban Land Institute, networking with different people, so kind of expanding the horizons and meeting with people to help keep growing and seeing what's possible. Because you kind of feel like you've reached your, you've kind of done a lot here, but then relative to what a lot of other people are doing, it's not a lot.
Right.
So being out there, meeting them, seeing what they're doing, and the different opportunities that exist within real estate and how people are doing it, it's always fascinating how many different ways to do it or different opportunities there are within, real estate as a whole.
Right. I mean, that's the name of the game, really, is we all have to sort of like constantly reinvent ourselves to sort of keep our business growing and keep changing ourselves. So great advice. So again, for those of you that have referrals for Patrick, GinnRealtyGroup.com. So that would be anywhere in, if I get this right, southwestern Washington and northwest Oregon.
Yep.
Am I saying that right? All right,
that's correct.
cool.
Yep.
So listen, I always like to sort of end these things, Patrick, with one question that I love the answers that I get to this one question, and that is, if you have a brand new real estate agent that comes into your office and they want the secret of your success, what is the 1 or 2 things that they have to do to really rock their business? And they're sitting across the desk from you. What would you tell them?
I would first by saying it takes a little time, but I think if you do it consistently and methodically, day in and day out, it will happen. And so with that, pick how you're going to do that. So whether you're going to go sit out in open houses, focus on a farm, something specific. Once you have a plan, it's not going to work in a week. It's not going to work in 2 weeks. You might not start feeling it in 6 months. It's really just, it took years, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this is what people have told me. This is what they heard. After year 3, you start getting all the referrals. Our lights went out there. We got some energy efficient lights that turn off there. There we go. Sorry about that.
No worries.
So yeah, I would just say definitely just keep doing it day in and day out, and that's the name of the game.
That's great. That's great, and that is great advice too, because that's one of the things that I always say too is consistency is key. I mean, that's the operative word, and a lot of times people say, well, they'll go knock on doors for one day, or they'll do one mailing, and they'll say, well, that didn't work. And
Right.
it's like you got to figure out what it is, what's going to work for you, and do it consistently, and that's like the biggest thing.
Consistently. And follow up, if you say you're going to do something, you're going to call them back, call them
Hmm.
again, mail them again.
Yep,
People are bombarded by, these days more than ever, instant message,
absolutely.
text, social media. You just got to kind of stay there and be in front of them.
Absolutely. Patrick, this has been absolutely a pleasure. Patrick Ginn at GinnRealtyGroup.com. Thank you so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it. And
Yes.
we'll
Thanks, Chris.
make sure that we drive everybody to your website.
All right. Thanks, Chris.
Hey, Patrick, take care.
Yeah.
Hey, man, was Patrick a cool cat or what? Man, I had so much fun talking to him. And, I love his take on, where there's something in your marketplace that's not happening, you see a hole in your marketplace, fill it. Figure out a way to create a market yourself, which is exactly how Patrick catapulted himself into one of the top producing real estate agents in the country. I mean, I just love that whole approach. For those of you out there talking or thinking about, well, what can I do differently with my marketing? Man, listen to Patrick and make sure you send him referrals to GinnRealtyGroup.com. Love talking to him. Give us some love down below. Let us know what you thought about Patrick and what you think about the show. And I am looking forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much for joining us. Chris Stafford here with Massive Abundance, and may massive abundance be yours.